Hello everyone, hello sensitive beings, wonderful people. I see that this is not closed. Gotta try and close it. Oh well, what can you do? The landlord took a look at it, he couldn't get it to close either. So a couple things. First off, I've gotten some feedback about wanting to put a little color behind me. And I was feeling a little bit defensive, like, you want me to go spend money rearranging my kitchen and blah. But I think there's a point to be made about bringing a little sunshine, a little bit of pretty behind me. I think that that's a valid feedback. I know that somebody had given that feedback yesterday, and then a bunch of people kind of had there was a little bit of a conflict between various different fans of the channel. So, yeah, I just want to apologize to anyone whose feelings were hurt when I was a little snippy yesterday. I really want the channel to be a safe space for people. And I also got a call from one of our fans just that she was feeling a little disrespected. So we respect everybody. Yeah, sorry if there was any misunderstandings. And hopefully everybody likes this. This is something really cheap and fun that you can do if you're on a budget, as I am, and I'm sure you are as well, and you want to have a little fun in your home. These are those stickers. They peel right off. You can put them in your child's room. You can put them in your kitchen. I like it because it brings flowers and sunshine and positive things into the home. And I bought these stickers for like $12-13. I think they also sell these kinds of things at the 99-cent store, and I just thought it was fun. And I'm tempted to have a party one of these days in my little cottage and just bring like charcoal and stickers and whatnot, and just to encourage everyone to do art directly on the walls, and just, you can recreate your apartment every time you have a party if you leave out stickers and colored chalk, etc., and just let people have fun decorating your walls. You can always just they come off real easily. They just pull right off, and you can save them, or you can completely change the apartment again by adding something different like rainbows or whatnot. And they're fun for children too, because children can get involved in decorating their rooms. All right, enough about that. So apologies to anyone whose feelings are hurt. If you don't like this one, then give me feedback and we can try another one, because the good news is it changes. Isn't that cool? You can order a new group of stickers, change the scenario. We may try rainbows next time, but flowers this time. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I want to have a conversation that's actually pretty serious, and I have been sitting on the corner for a while, either choosing not to get involved or actually getting involved and then pulling back and not getting involved. And it has to do with the hot topic: does Donald Trump have a problem with drugs, specifically prescription drugs? So yes, I am the doctor who wrote the article. I've been outed. I wrote an article about 6 months ago. It was called "Why I Think Donald Trump Has a Drug Problem." It got a lot of attention, and then I took the article down because I felt like whenever you confront someone's behavior and you say your behavior looks like there's a drug problem, it's because you care and you're worried about the person's behavior, because you feel that it's the responsible thing to do, similar to what the psychiatrists are doing with duty to warn, and it's not coming from any attempt to destroy anybody's life or hurt anybody or anything like that. That's, to be clear, that's not where I'm coming from. So if you would, I will link the article here, and I will put it back out there so people can read it. I took it offline for a couple months, but so people who want to read my argument about why I think the president's behavior is suggestive of pharmaceutical drug addiction, and my argument, it's linked here. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about that and why I think, and we can do a tarot reading on this as well. But it is something that came up during a meditation I did about 6 months ago. You know, that wonderful consolidation when you start putting the pieces together, you combine it with your education and you say, something about this is not right. So a little bit about my educational background. I am a naturopathic doctor, but to be clear, I worked in a pharmacy for 7 years, and my post-graduate studies were, I studied pharmaceuticals, and specifically how pharmaceuticals interact with other things like alcohol, herbs, in case there's drug-herb interactions, and spent many years studying pharmaceuticals and overdose, drug reactions, drug addiction, etc. So after I graduated from medical school, I started working at a pharmacy and stayed for many years. That was actually my first job here in Los Angeles, was working at a pharmacy, and started in 2015, started in 2008, I left in 2015, and then I went back in 2017 and did another year. So actually, now that I think about it, I spent about 8 years in the pharmacy. And when I first started working in the pharmacy, I was very naive, because people, I would see people getting angry and screaming and yelling at the pharmacist, and I was probably working in the pharmacy for 4 years before it dawned on me that part of what I was seeing was drug-seeking behavior and drug addiction, which is why a lot of people were getting angry, yelling and screaming at the pharmacist when the pharmacist would refuse to fill a prescription for oxycodone or something like that. Now, in terms of the president, he's had a very rocky and bizarre, to put it bluntly, relationship with his previous doctors. His first doctor that we saw some strange controversy with was a doctor in New York who claims that Donald Trump wrote his own bill of health. The doctor didn't write it. That's the first unusual story. But then last year, the doctor claimed that his offices were raided by people who were part of Trump's team in D.C. At the White House. Evidently somebody, a lawyer, etc., came to his offices and removed all of his private medical records. So that was odd, because the doctor seemed to be suggesting that it was a violation of protocol, and it's an unusual thing to do, to have people coming in and confiscating medical records and trying to suppress medical records. Just the whole story. There was something very bizarre about the story, so I put it in the back of my mind, like, that was unusual interaction between him and Bernstein. And then Donald Trump was moved to the White House, and he began working with the White House doctor, who he then wanted to promote to be head of the VA. And this is when things start to get a little bit strange. It was actually Mike Pence's wife who reported the doctor for indiscriminately handing out prescription drugs to people at the White House. So that's an interesting piece to the puzzle, was that it was Mike Pence's wife who filed a complaint about the doctor. So some of the prescription drugs that the doctor was accused of handing out was Ambien, which is a sleep medication, and it doesn't surprise me that Ambien would be a medication that many people in DC working in the White House would want to take, because insomnia, anxiety, etc., very common considering the kind of high pressure work that people are doing in the White House. The other piece of this conversation is to talk a little bit about some of what we know about Donald Trump and Donald Trump's history. For example, we know that he by his own admission, has trouble with attention, possibly attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. He himself talks this way about himself, that he has trouble focusing, that he's all over the place, he doesn't like to read, he fidgets. Somebody had said, do I think that Donald Trump can read? Yes, I think he can read. I just don't think he wants to put on his reading glasses to read because it makes him look old. And it's a vanity issue. Men get over the age of 40 or 50 and they have to put on reading glasses in order to read, and they feel emasculated by the reading glasses, so they try to read without the reading glasses, and then they would rather people think that they don't read or can't read than put on a pair of reading glasses and have all the pretty girls say, you look like grandpa. So do I think he really can't read? No. Do I think that he might be vain enough to not want to put on his reading glasses? Yes, I think that that's more in keeping with Donald Trump. So getting back to the issue of the fact that Donald Trump seems to, his behavior, his own admissions about his challenges with focus, etc., we're looking at someone who possibly has been diagnosed, very likely with attention deficit disorder or attention hyperactivity disorder. If he had been diagnosed in the 70s or 80s, which again is highly likely, the standard of care was to prescribe amphetamines. In plainer words, that was how medical doctors treated attention deficit disorder. If you're looking at some of the earlier medications, the earlier generation of amphetamines that were popular in the 70s and 80s, and they're still popular, top of the list would be dexedrine. And any businessman who's having trouble with focus, who needs to be up late at night wheeling and dealing, if your business is working casinos where people are having business meetings till 4 or 5 in the morning, a great medication for someone with attention deficit disorder or hyperactivity disorder, if you're looking at the amphetamines, they would probably respond very well to dexedrine because they would be able to focus, they would be able to work late at night, they would be able to stay awake and do their job. And so you look at someone like Donald Trump, he doesn't sleep, he has insomnia, he's tweeting at 2, 3 in the morning, has a past history of attention deficit disorder. The first paranoid delusions. Occasionally we will see behavior that's suggestive of paranoid delusions. So again, my mind would be going towards, this is looking a lot like an amphetamine addiction, because the side effect, particularly with long-term amphetamine abuse, is hyperactivity, paranoia, insomnia, the kind of crazy paranoid behavior that we're seeing. That's exactly what you would expect to see in somebody who has an amphetamine addiction and has had the addiction for some time. There's some evidence that long-term amphetamine abuse also is associated with brain damage, risk for certain types of brain damage, but specifically showing characteristics of paranoid personality disorder. If you already have a personality disorder, like paranoid personality disorder, and then you mix with that something like amphetamines, that would be theoretically a pretty dangerous combination. Now, for people who are on amphetamines because of attention deficit disorder or somebody who had a sleep disorder like narcolepsy, has trouble staying awake, might be given a prescription like dexedrine or amphetamines. If you're having trouble getting to sleep, then doctors will also often prescribe sleeping pills to help level out the side effects of these types of medications, and also if the medication is causing some anxiety. So the first medication that many doctors will go to is benzodiazepines. And benzodiazepines were first discovered in plants. Valerian root, for example, later they developed Valium based on some of the studies out of valerian root, is a natural a muscle relaxer, natural sleep aid. But what benzodiazepines are is they're classified as muscle relaxers. You should never mix them with alcohol. You'll also see with someone who takes a benzodiazepine slurring of the words, the cotton mouth, dry mouth, slurring of the words, difficulty forming words, particularly if these are medications that have a short half-life. Some of them have a short half-life, but if somebody theoretically couldn't fall asleep, they were up till 3, 4 in the morning, they took a benzodiazepine or some kind of muscle relaxer or sleep aid, then if they're up 4 or 5 hours later and they're running a press conference and the half-life of something is 8 hours, you could theoretically still be seeing symptoms of the medication. And so what it looks like to me when I see Donald Trump slurring words or appearing slightly obtunded, dry mouth, slurring like he's drunk, that to me looks like a benzodiazepine type of reaction. And benzodiazepines can cause this, barbiturates can cause this, sleeping pills, various different types of sleeping pills can cause this. And again, it's not surprising in a senior citizen. Senior citizens we often will overprescribe medications to seniors, and particularly a senior with this kind of medical history, attention deficit disorder, is going to be more likely to be prescribed something like a sleep aid. And if he's also having anxiety because of business pressure, etc., benzodiazepines would probably be one of the first classes of medication that a doctor would look to. So when I look at his behavior and his actions, is I'm concerned about overprescribing of medications, and I think what we're seeing is side effects, and I think it's very common in seniors. I'm sorry to say, seniors make up a large percentage of individuals in this country addicted to pharmaceuticals, because chronic pain and chronic disease become a bigger problem the older we become. So that is why I came to the conclusions that I came to. And that's why I felt a duty to warn and to come out as somebody with my background and say, what I'm seeing here looks like an amphetamine addiction that's being I'm seeing what looks like prescription drug abuse, specifically amphetamines, benzodiazepines, possibly sleeping pills. And for the safety of the president, for his own safety, I think there needs to be an intervention. Now, the fact that Mike Pence's wife was the one that reported it also has me concerned about Mr. Pence. This is what I was sitting on and didn't want to talk about. But seeing how obtunded Mr. Pence was at one of the last press conferences I saw him at had me disturbed, concerned that maybe his wife had filed that report because she's concerned about her husband. So if we're looking at two senior citizens who are over prescribed medication, should that be grounds to step down or to resign? Yes. If you are taking so much of a certain medication that you're not able to function, you're slurring your words, or you're not making rational decisions because of the amount of pharmaceutical drugs you're taking, then yeah, that's basically what we're looking at. So then the next question would be, is he gonna quit his job, or are we looking at a resignation possibly? Does this theoretical drug problem play any role in why this president might be resigning soon? Because I'm sorry to say, the symptoms of these drug interaction symptoms, these side effects of these types of pharmaceuticals is becoming apparent, I think, to those of us that have medical training. All right, so that was my 18 minutes of science, and people are like, can we get a tarot reading? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a tarot reading and see if what we're looking at in the president is a drug addiction, and if so, how it will end, because we're worried about it. Let's take a look. Does Donald Trump have a prescription drug problem? Does Donald Trump have a prescription drug problem? Queen of Wands is moving in and a Hanged card. Queen of Wands is fire sign female, woman takes charge, woman takes lead, woman grabs the staff of authority. Remember, the staff historically in traditional cultures was the staff of leadership. The head of the tribe took the staff, and it symbolized that she would lead. So there's a suggestion here that a woman is moving into position, possibly a fire sign, preparing to lead, and there's something is being hung up or coming to an end. Excuse me. Where we're at right now, where he's at right now, Fool taking leap of faith. The Fool begins the journey regarding a new contract, some new opportunity or new contract coming in. Here we can see again the Ice King, the inverted King of Swords, abusive, paranoid, psychotic, psychopathic behavior of it. The worst possible king you'll ever get is the inverted King of Swords. It is the blue ice, psychopathic, cold, brutal. It is the brutal dictator. What sits below? Offers. Knight of Cups. An offer has been given. What sits in the back? Stability. Wealth. But the future going nowhere. Going nowhere. I think we're looking at some kind of a meltdown or collapse of the presidency. An inverted world card with an inverted King of Swords, not good. Some kind of offer may have already been given. He came out of a situation that was potentially optimal. You can see a nice Nine of Pentacles in the past. An inverted Four of Wands could mean the end of a celebration or an era, the end of an era, the end of a period of Four of Wands is like the good old days, celebrating weddings, festivals, celebrations. What's around the inverted Nine of Cups? A wish that was granted. Hopes and fears, a new beginning, a road that leads nowhere. This is also a commerce card. Three of Wands, looking to your commerce, waiting for your ships to come in. And the clarification, loss of money, unhappiness, getting out of a constricted situation, problems at night, insomnia, anxiety, stress, fear. Also can be indicative of migraine, headaches, or pain at night. So it looks like this president has a tremendous amount of emotional stress. It just looks like it's an emotionally stressful card chart. Coming in with that inverted King of Swords, the final outcome, Nine of Swords, torment, insomnia, migraine, stress, anxiety, wanting to get out of jail. There's a part of this president that doesn't even want to be there. I think that his health and possibly this challenge I'm seeing with drug use or drug addictions may also play a part in the president's decision to resign. All right, this was one of the more heady readings I have done. I want to thank everybody for watching this video of Tarot with Whimsy. Let me know your feedback, what you think about what we talked about today, and whether or not you think it needs to be a national conversation. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.